Hey kiddos, in this lesson we're going to go over absolute value. We briefly talked about this in class, and remembering that absolute value is merely the distance from zero as we're dealing with integers. So let's take a look at it. Let's first go through our criteria for success for today. So by the end of today's lesson, you should, one, be able to find the absolute value of a number. You should be able to make comparisons involving absolute values, and then finally apply those absolute values in real life problems. So absolute value. Please make sure that this is in your notebook or it's locked in your brains. That absolute value is merely the distance between a number, an integer, and zero on the number line. And we're able to determine we're able to determine the absolute value because we'll see it written as a number. We're using the variable here of a, but it's going to have those two straight lines. These are not parentheses. Parentheses are curved. Absolute value bars are straight. And so the absolute value of -2 is just 2 units, 2. And the absolute value of +2 is, again, 2 units because that's the distance from 0. So when we're looking to find the absolute value of example number 1, for example, it says find the absolute value of 3. Well, how far away is 3 from 0? Well, it's 3 units. Therefore, the absolute value of 3 is +3, or just 3. Now, what's the absolute value of -2.5? Well, -2.5, ask yourself, how far away is this from 0? And if we take a look at it on our number line, we can see that -2.5 is 2.5 units from 0. So the absolute value of -2.5 is 2.5. Now, if we want to compare, remember, comparisons are not us saying which is positive, which is negative, but merely us saying which is greater than or less than. So when we're looking at +2 and the absolute value of -5, which is greater, well, +2 is just equal to 2, whereas the absolute value of -5 is equal to +5. So which value is greater? That's right, +5. So the absolute value of -5 is greater than +2, or +2 is less than the absolute value of -5, which is equal to 5. Does that make sense? Cool. Let's just do a real world example. We have this real world model here of a shark, a sea lion, a seagull, a shrimp, and a turtle. And the table shows the elevation of several of the animals. We have the seagull is at +56, the sea lion is at +5, the shark is at -4, the sea turtle or the turtle is at -22, and finally the shrimp is at -65. Which animal is the deepest? Well, when we take a look at this, we can see that the one that's lowest on the number line is -65. Therefore, the shrimp is the deepest. And then we're asked, is the shark or the sea lion closer to sea level? Meaning sea level is 0, which is closer to 0. So we're in essence asking ourselves, hey, what's the distance of the shark versus the distance of the sea lion in relation to sea level, which is equal to 0? So the shark being at -4, how far away from 0 is that? It's 4 units, or in this case, since we're dealing with feet, it'd be 4 feet. What about the sea lion? The sea lion is 5 feet away from 0. So which is closer to sea level? Because 4 is less than 5, the shark is going to be closer to sea level than the sea lion. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, give yourself a thumbs up and give yourself a pat on the back. Finally, let's just take a look at some of these examples that we have here. You're asked to find the absolute value of +8. How far away is 8 from 0? 8 units is correct. Number 2, what's the absolute value of -6? What's the absolute value of 0? Number 4, what's the absolute value of 1/4 or a quarter? Number 5, what is the absolute value of -7 and 1/3? And last but not least, number 6, what's the absolute value of -12.9? Go ahead and drop your answers in the chat. And that's absolute value, kiddos. This has been lesson 8.4.